Hi-ho. Very nice. Next line. Hi-ho. Hi-ho. It's off to work I go? Very nice, okay. Okay. Somebody can whistle along, that's good. That's right, that's good, all right. So, why in the world do we have songs, marching songs? Why do we have those? Why do we have a song where you have dwarves, for example, and Cinderella and things like that, or Sleeping Beauty, or whatever the case might be? People are always singing, right? You have people who go ahead and they go on marches. You have military. Military goes ahead and they sing songs. I could do a military song, but those are usually oftentimes are X-rated, so we can't do those. My brother came back from boot camp. He gave me all kinds of words and songs to sing, which I decided not to. So we won't use those today. But yeah, you have all kinds of things. So you have, like, for example, like I said, the Sleeping Beauty, and you have the dwarves, and off they go into the mines, you know, and hi-ho, hi-ho, it's off to work I go, right?
Snow White.
It's Snow White? It's not Sleeping Beauty?
Because you don't have girls.
I'm the father of boys, I can tell you. Yeah, all right. It is Snow White. Oh, it is Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Thank you, Jeff. All right. Well, my credibility is shot, so why don't you go home? We're done here. We're done today. All right. Boy, okay. All right. Well, I like to think I know something about the Bible. I don't know. Well, it's interesting for us, though, because, yes, Snow White has marching songs, and Cinderella has the birds and the mice that sing. That's all right?
Yes.
Whistle while you work? No? That's Snow White? Over two. Okay. Really? Okay. All right. Granddaughters. We'll work on the granddaughters. Okay, anyway. All right. Nevertheless, people do sing as they work, right? And why do they do this? They do this, of course, for various reasons, but part of this is to go ahead and to distract the mind, is it not? It distracts the mind, or perhaps will emphasize something within the mind so that you can continue on in a task. Military, they have running songs oftentimes. Military, they run along and they sing a song as they go. Why are they doing this? It helps keep a rhythm. It helps keep them in pace. It keeps their mind motivated, moving towards something. So we have that. Okay. It was not unusual. For example, you'd have slave songs back in the 1850s and before that, where you have workers in the field and they would sing, would they not? So you would have this type of thing. And it was designed to go ahead and to motivate you in a sense, to make your drudgery, if you will, not so miserable. All of that being said, we find here that as we come into the Psalms, if we look at Psalms 120 to 134, they are referred to oftentimes as the Psalms of the Ascent. And this is as you are moving from the low territories, you're heading up towards Jerusalem. And as you're doing so, you have different psalms, which are songs. And you have these so that you can go ahead, as you're going from the lowlands up to the highlands, you can go ahead and sing along. It's what the pilgrim songs might be. Today, if you were to take a tour to Israel, one of the things which you might do is you might find yourself in the town of Jericho. And you look at the map, you know, and you get your biblical map out there and you see, oh, there's Jericho and here's Jerusalem. And they're only this far apart. So that's not bad, right? Maps are so deceptive. They are so deceptive. It's only this far apart. But do you know the elevation of Jericho? The elevation of Jericho, ladies and gentlemen, is 850 feet below sea level. Below! 850 feet below sea level. And if you go to Jerusalem, it's about 2,500 feet above sea level. So when you're looking at the road from Jericho to Jerusalem, you're looking at a massive change of altitude. 3,000 plus feet, right? That's what you're looking at. You're like, oh my goodness, that's ridiculous. Yes, it is. And you're saying, well, would anybody do this? Yes, they would. As a matter of fact, we've been going through the book of Luke. By the way, the book of Luke, we will eventually finish it. I got into my calendar, and I was looking at my calendar, and we will actually finish Luke about a year from now. Well, you're all laughing. I think that's fantastic. I'm so excited to finish Luke. So, and the thing is, we'll do some Luke, and then we'll take a break because we have to go ahead and have the resurrection in Luke happen at the right time, okay? So next year, about this time. So about fall time, we'll go ahead and we'll take a break from Luke, and we'll come back to it at the beginning of the year. That's how it's going to work out. Anyway, all of that being said, as we're continuing on in Luke, what's going to be interesting to us, we're getting close to the end of the 18th chapter, and at the very end of the 18th chapter, we'll see is that Jesus will be entering into Jericho. And as he goes to Jericho, we're going to see that he is on his way to Jerusalem. And what Jesus is doing is he's following the pilgrim's path, and he is going to go ahead and he's going from the low point and he's going to go to the high point. And almost surely this particular song, Psalm 121, is a song which would have been sung by the pilgrims on the way. This is a song Jesus and the disciples may very well have sung as they went from Jericho up to Jerusalem. And there's all these different songs of ascent because you sing these things to help you keep your mind engaged, to distract you from the physical labor, and to realize and to give yourself confidence that this is worthwhile because this is a big deal. You would go to you could go up to 3 different festivals up in Jerusalem each year. And so here is one. And as we're going to see him in Luke 18 and then following, Jesus is coming to Jerusalem for the Passover. That's what we'll see. So today what we're going to do, though, is we're going to stay out of Luke. We're going to come to look at just the psalm. We're going to look at the song which possibly Jesus sung, or at the very minimum would have been very, very well known. It would have been very well known to him. Something which David sung. And it's an easy song. It's a simple song. It basically has 2 parts to it. It has an expression of confidence followed with an echo of assurance. Okay? An expression of confidence and an echo of assurance. That's what we have here. So let us look at the first part. An expression of confidence. Psalm 121. Turn there if you have your Bibles with you. If not, I did put it up on the board today for us. And it says here in Psalm 121, it says this. A song of ascents. Okay? We're moving from the low place to the high place. Here we come. And our psalmist says, I lift up my eyes to the hills, for where does my help come from? So we open up that first verse and we look at this, and we are stuck with an interpretive question as we look at it. We have to ask, what does this all mean? I mean, the words in one sense are simple. I lift up my eyes to the hills. We understand what each of those words mean. But how should we take those words? Should we take these words as, I look to the hills and oh my goodness, that is brutal. I have a lot of elevation to cover. And not only that, I have to go there and I have to go through that difficult area, and perhaps there's certainly uncertainty, and perhaps there's even crime there. Should I consider going there and I lift up my eyes and I'm fearful? Is that the concept there? As a matter of fact, Jesus will actually refer to this particular road in the book of Luke. In Luke chapter 10, let's turn there because we can. We go to Luke chapter 10 and verse 30. And Jesus, once again, will go ahead and reference this particular road. So Luke chapter 10 in verse 30. Pick it up in verse 29 to get the paragraph. But he, that is Jesus, a man who was trying to justify himself. But he, desiring to justify himself, said to Jesus, and who is my neighbor? And Jesus replied, a man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho. That's the road. Same road. He's leaving Jerusalem, going to Jericho, but this is the road. A man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho, and he fell among robbers. See, there's danger there. Who stripped him and beat him and departed, and leaving him half dead. And this is the story of the Good Samaritan, is it not? That's the whole story here. And so what we see is that we see this as an active road, the road to ascent or descent, depending upon which way you're going. And it is one which is fraught with dangers. You could have somebody who is attacked at this place. So we come back to Psalm chapter 121, and we look at this, and it says, I lift my eyes to the hills. And we're like, oh my goodness. Maybe he's saying, I look to the hills, and there's uncertainty and danger there. And then he's going to express assurance to God from there. But I don't think that's the idea. I don't think that's the idea. I think all of this is positive. I do. I don't think this is a one where he says, I lift my eyes to the hills and I see some difficulties. But rather I think he's saying, I lift my eyes to the hills and I know that that is where my God is. Look at a couple of the other of the Psalms of ascent. Look at Psalm 125, verses 1 and 2. Those who trust in the Lord are like Mount Zion, which cannot be moved, but abides forever. As the mountains surround Jerusalem, so the Lord surrounds his people from this time forth and forevermore. Mountains are linked with the strength and the majesty of God. Look over Psalm 123, verse 1. To you I lift my eyes, O you who are enthroned in the heavens. Again, mountains are high. It looks to the idea of the majesty of God, the power of God, the creator God, the one who is associated with that. Scoot back, if you will, to Psalm 48, verses 1 through 3. And in Psalm 48, 1 through 3, we read, Great is the Lord, and greatly to be praised. In the city of our God, his holy mountain, beautiful in elevation, is the joy of all the earth. Mount Zion in the far north, the city of the great King. Within her citadels of God has made himself known as a fortress. God is great. And I think as we come to 121, and as you are at the base, you're at the valley, if you will, and you are looking, and you're looking at, wow, I got a lot of hike in front of me. I need a song of ascent. I need something to go ahead and to encourage myself. Yes, I'm going up the hills, but the hills represent the majesty and the greatness of my God. I look unto the hills, and from where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord. It comes from the Lord, because that my God is the one who made those mountains, and I look to him. And though they may be challenged before me, I go to him in whom I can have confidence. For this is an expression of confidence, I believe. Where is my help? As if he doesn't know. He knows where his help comes from. My help is from the Lord. Now, I like the fact that there is a song, and he is singing this before he heads up the mountain. It's before he heads up the mountain. It is a lot easier to go ahead and talk about the greatness of God after we've accomplished something. Whew. Well, God was good there. Let me give a testimony of that. But it is difficult when you are in the pit and you look up high and you say, that is difficult for me. Oh, great is God. Oh, I don't know. Sometimes it is easy to look at the difficulties which we have, the challenges which we have, and we say, it is too much for me. The mountains are too high. And we forget that our God created the mountains. Amen. Do you ever have any mountains in your life? Do you have anything that you have to climb? One of the great things about this particular psalm is it is one which you sing to yourself, you know. It is one which you get to go ahead and you get to say, oh my goodness, I lifted my eyes unto the hills, and where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord. And though I'm in it, though things are difficult, I look to the Lord. That's where my help comes from. I get to preach a small message to myself. My help is not in my talent. My help is not in my craftiness. My help is not in my beautiful looks. My help is not in my riches. My help is in the Lord. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord. And he says, who made the heaven and the earth? Heaven and earth is what we call, grammatically, it's called a merism. A merism is something where we look at the both ends. We look at the front and the back, and when we look at that, we understand that it takes the whole comprehensive. Like in a ship, you would have the bow and the stern, meaning he doesn't just control the bow, or he doesn't just control the stern, but he controls the whole ship. He is the captain of the whole thing. And when we look at this, when it says our God is the one who made the heaven and the earth, it means he made everything. Our God is the creator, yes, of those mountains. He understands the difficulties which we're going to go through, but he understands it and he's there. And our psalmist, he sings aloud, hi-ho! He sings aloud, I know. I look to the hills and I know my God is great. And I can move on. God made it all. This is our God. This is Yahweh. This is the one who is the one and only God. He is the maker of the heavens and the earth. There isn't a God that made the sky, and another God that made the ground, and another God that made the ocean. There are no other gods. In the polytheistic religious mind, it said this: there is a God of the sky, and there's a God of the ground, and there's a God of all of this. There's a God of the crops. There's the God of fertility. There's a God of sufficient rain. There's the God of winning battles. There's a God of entering the realm of the dead. There's a God of the sun, the God of the moon. There's a God of this river and that river. And there's a God for a little bit of everything. Our God is one. And because our God is one, that means He is the God of the sky, and He is the God of death. He is the God of heaven. He is the God of everything. Amen. And you don't have to go ahead and look for different gods. I look sometimes, and I have Catholic friends, and some of them I believe are true believers, but some of them are really mistaken. And they want to say, well, I need special prayers, and so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pray to Saint such and such and Saint such and such. And do you know what that is? That is a neo-paganistic thought. Instead of looking for and praying to the one God, the God who is God of all things, they're going to say, well, I'm going to pray to this saint because this is the saint of this, and this is the saint of this, or this is the God, this is the saint of this. The Saint Christopher is the saint of travelers, so I'm told. I don't know why. And you can burn a candle as you go on your trip. How is that different from the polytheist who goes ahead and he prays to the God of traveling? Or people have their St. Christopher's medal. In other times, we would call that an idol, a lucky charm. You're putting your hope, ladies and gentlemen, in a thing, a candle, someone who is not God. Our God is one. And it is a mistake, and a tragic mistake, to go ahead and to forget that. How can you have a voice of confidence if you have to make sure that you're burning the right candle or wearing the right jewelry to go ahead and have God's favor? Our hope is in the Lord. Our hope is in Yahweh, the covenant-keeping God of Scripture. Well, we have here in verse 1, I've set my, I look unto the hills and my help was from the Lord, right? Fantastic. So you have this first person, I look unto the hills, and then all of a sudden we have a grammatical change as we come into the third verse. As we come into the third verse, all of a sudden the grammar changes. It shows us that there's a change here. So first we have the expression of confidence, and now all of a sudden we have the echo. And the echo is not first person, I, but the second person, you. I look, I have confidence, and now all of a sudden it is as if either he's speaking to himself or somebody else is echoing back to it, and it says, you. Look at this. Go to verse 2 or verse 3. He will not let your foot be moved. So I express my confidence, and as somebody else now sings to him to continue to enable or continue to reinforce that confidence, He, that is God, will not let your foot be moved. As we look at the Old Testament, we see in the Old Testament times, there's some simple equations in this. Land, for example, equals blessing. For the nation of Israel, to get the land is, you put your foot in the land, that's blessing. That's just how it is. There you are. And you want to put your foot there, every place where you put the sole of your foot, that's blessing. And you want to keep it on there. And you're going to keep it on there according to God unless you go ahead and start living in disobedience, and then God's going to kick you out, and He promises that too. He says, our God basically will not let your foot be moved. You're going to be stuck on your blessing. Hallelujah. Elise and I, we took our 4 boys, we went camping just for like a day. I think it was just a day on the slopes of Mount St. Helens. As a boy, I had Mount St. Helens come to me. Came all across the state to visit. Dumped itself in Spokane, Washington. I had never been to Mount St. Helens in my life, though. Several years ago, we went back to Mount St. Helens and took our 4 boys there. Thad, he was a upperclassman in college, and he played rugby. He was strong. I used to think I was strong, but he was pretty big, but he was strong. And I remember we ended up playing King of the Mountain. And there was this hill, I think there was a stump on it, and he set his foot. And he's got his brothers, and his brothers want to knock him off, and I want to knock him off. And that big, tall boy with all of his strength, he knocked us all back. He set his foot, and it was as if there was a supernatural super glue on his feet, and there was no getting them off. And it's this idea here where our God who is no fake supernatural, but the real supernatural. And he is the one that says, I will give you your blessing, and your blessing will not be moved unless you leave me. You set your feet here, and I'm going to keep your foot there. Your foot will not be moved. He who keeps you, he who guards you, he doesn't sleep, he doesn't slumber. You don't have to worry about losing anything because God took some time off. There's not a time where your God is too busy for you. There is not a time where your God is not aware. You can pray to him in the night. You can pray to him in the wee hours in the morning. You can pray to him at any time. You can pray to him at any place. When I went to Israel, they had the opportunity. We were at the Wailing Wall, and you had the opportunity. You could go to the Wailing Wall, and you could put a prayer, and you could scrunch it up, and you could stick it between the stones, and you could put your prayer there. But my friends, I'm here to tell you that any prayer that you squish up and put it between the rocks has no more effectiveness than the prayer that you have right here. Pray to your God because your God is one. He doesn't simply live in Jerusalem. He does not simply live in the Middle East. He lives here. He is here. He is the maker of the heavens and the earth. He hears. There is no time where he is too busy for you. He hears. He does not slumber. People slumber. We have problems with our staying awake. You know, if you go to Psalm 127, another Psalm of Ascent, and it says it's a vanity to have the watchman basically to stay awake if the Lord doesn't keep the city. People fall asleep. Jesus, when he is in the garden, Jesus is in the garden and he is praying, Father, not your will be done, but my will be, or not my will be done, but your will be done, Father. And what did the disciples do? Well, fall asleep, and fall asleep, and fall asleep. We're weak. Our God is not. He does not slumber. He continues on. He says, behold, he who keeps Israel, yes, Israel, will not slumber nor sleep. So he repeats this here. He is not the sluggard of the Proverbs. He is not the one whose face falls into the porridge, as we find in the Proverbs, yet he is the God who is always aware. He says, behold, he who keeps Israel. This is Israel. Israel is the nation of Israel, the chosen people. The church is not Israel. There's confusion about that much in today's world. We are not Israel, but we are still a people. We are blessed. In our church era, our time where we will look forward to Christ and his return, we worship the same God that David worshiped, ladies and gentlemen. The Lord is your keeper. He is your guard. The Lord is your shade on your right hand. You know, as I've got a little bit older, I found that the sun affects me more than it used to. I mean, number one, I've got this solar, I don't have a solar reflector. I have a solar receptor on my head. So anymore, when I'm not here in church, I'm wearing a hat most of the time. I'm trying to keep the sun off of me. And I find that, especially when I do hiking, and if I'm hiking when it's really hot, that really knocks me out. I remember we were going to go climb Mount Eleanor. We've been up there a couple of different times. We decided, well, we'll go early in the morning. But the carpet cleaner showed up late, hours late. And we didn't get to the trailhead until 1 o'clock in the morning. Better yet, afternoon. Thank you very much. They sing in the afternoon and Snow White too, by the way. Anyways, 1 o'clock in the afternoon we got there, right? So we get there, and I remember we went there. It was a special day because the sun was out. We'd gone there before and it was all fogged in, you know. So this is our second time we're going to go up there, and we were going up there and it was crystal clear, and it was forecast to be 90 degrees. And if you've ever gone up Mount Eleanor, you will not forget it. Mount Eleanor, you can actually see it from Chambers Bay. It's the far left peak, by the way, as you're going around Chambers Bay. There it is. And you go up there and you say, well, that's not that bad, okay? Do you know going up there, it is only 1.6 miles? You're like, well, that's baby talk, right? That's nothing. It is nothing. The problem is that it is an ascent. I told you that Jerusalem is 2,500 feet. This is 44 feet, but in 1.6 miles. You are going up 1.6 miles, and you're going up 2,444 feet, to which you're saying, okay, that's just a number. Okay, great. The Eiffel Tower is 1,250 feet. You are therefore climbing, not the Eiffel Tower, the Empire State Building. The Empire State Building, you're climbing it twice. In 1.6 miles, you're going up the Empire State. Oh, and by the way, and you're going down it twice. To which you say, okay, that's not that big of a deal, because you're going down. Not when the steps are this big, because you take the step and it jar, 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 and your thighs, by the time you are finished, if they are not rubber, you're tough. I remember we were almost all the way to the top. We went through the switchbacks. We went through the boulder field, which is very cool. We went past the slag section over here. And we were going up there. We had taken Patrick with us, and we're very happy because Patrick had a water bladder in his back. And we got to the top, and I'm already out of water. I have not enough water left. I have no. And so he gives me a little bit of water, and I said, it's not that much farther to the top, and I'm going down is no big deal. So we made it to the top. I got some water. I got to the top. And by the time I made it down, once again, to the slag field, I haven't even gone to the boulder field. I am cold. It's 90 degrees. I'm cold. I'm dizzy. And I'm like, oh, I think this is what they call heat stroke. And so my wife and my son got me down the mountain because the sun struck me. And here we have these guys on their ascent for the pilgrimage, going up to Jerusalem, going up about the same amount of elevation. And they said that the sun will not strike me, nor the moon. You look at that, well, the moon doesn't strike you. I've walked in the moon before. The moon's pretty nice. But almost surely the moon here is standing for the nighttime, meaning all the dangers that are encompassed with the nighttime. I think that's probably the best way to understand this. The Lord is your keeper. He is your guard. He is your shade on your right hand. He's the one who's going to protect you. He's going to protect your strength. The sun will not strike you by day, nor the moon, or it's an accompanying type of dangers by night. Because God is one. Because God is one. He does not slumber. He does not sleep. He is not absent. The Egyptian polytheists believed in Ra, and they believed that Ra basically came and he was reigning during the time that the sun shone, and he lived, and then as we came to the sunset, he would turn into a different, he would go into the underworld, and he was absent. Our God is not absent. So you look with confidence, and you look under the hills, and where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord. My help comes from the Lord. He is the one who is my keeper. He is the one who will not slumber. He is the maker of heaven and earth. I don't have to worry about anybody else. I only have to worry about him, if you will. The Lord will keep. The Lord will guard you from all. And the ESV has the word evil. Others have the word harm here. And you can translate the word both ways. But the Lord will keep you from all evil or all harm. He will keep your life. And some of you look at that and say, hold on a second. How can that be true? Because I have experienced evil. I've had difficulty. I've had challenge in my life. How is it that, look at David, for crying out loud. David had all kinds of problems. But the reality is that there isn't an option, ladies and gentlemen. This is your best option. You rely upon him. You will rely upon him and trust in him. He is the one who will keep you from that which could be so much worse. The Lord will keep. He will guard your going out and your coming in. I like that too. He's going to keep you in the big things. He's going to keep you in the small things. He's going to keep you in the super, the overwhelming, and he's going to keep you in the mundane and the prosaic. Amen. You're going out and you're coming in. Your God knows when you leave your house. Your God knows when you get home. And he's going to do this. When is he going to do this? Now and forever. That's the God which we have. So as we enter in and we have a challenge which is before us, and we say, oh my goodness. The psalmist is saying, then sing a song. Sing a song of ascent. Sing a song which goes ahead and you can sing together. And as you do so, it will help focus your eyes not so much upon the challenge, but upon the God who is there for you. Again, I ask you this. Do you have mountains that you have to look at? Do you look at them with dread? Or do you see instead the mountains as a reminder that your God made those mountains and that He's in control? Your God is stronger than that. We all have mountains. We all have our difficulties which are before us. Our finances are threatened. Our health turns against us. Our loved ones are sick. Your job is disappointing. Your physical harm is that you have physical harm or threat. Your loved one does not know the Lord. Your loved one is walking down Fool's Valley. You struggle with addictions. You struggle with discipline. You are tempted to worship the gods of materialism. You make an idol of the perfect boyfriend or girlfriend or the perfect spouse to be. Or you're married and you're wondering, why doesn't your spouse go ahead and fulfill your greatest needs, putting them in the position of God which they are not? You're not going to find your fulfillment there. Jesus and his disciples would have come from Jerusalem and they would have walked up to Jerusalem. They have the songs of ascent. And surely they would have taken a couple of these, perhaps this very psalm, as they're going up the hills, and they said, fellas, let's sing a song together. Let's sing a song together and remove the physical toil from our minds and instead fill our minds with songs of assurance that our God is great. And then we echo it back with even more affirmation. Let your confidence be in God. He knows. The big and the small, He knows. Our God does not go away at night. He is there in the morning. He is there at night. He does not sleep. And I know this because our God is one. God is one. That is not simply a mathematical equation. Our God is one. That is, there is no other God. Our God is not separated to the God of the morning, the God at night, the God of this country, or the God of that country. There are no localized God. There is one. We talked about this in Sunday school class this morning. There is no God of America and a God of Iran and a God of this or that. There's one. And if that's the case, we may all come to that God. I thought we would do, as we come today, I thought it would be interesting for us to do something a little bit different. And one of the reasons I put the psalm up here, I thought we would go ahead and we'd read the psalm. And, oh yes, that's fine. So you can read it read this version. Don't go ahead and start reading the Message on me, or that's a problem. We'll have different translations. So why don't we stand, if you will. I think the way that we should do this, to make it simple, is that I will read a verse, and then you're going to repeat the verse. Do we have them numbered? We don't. So just try, okay? We'll do the best we can. All right. I lift up my eyes to the hills.
I lift up my eyes to the hills.
From where does my help come?
From where does my help come?
My help comes from the Lord.
My help comes from the Lord,
Who made the heaven and earth.
who made heaven and earth.
He will not let your foot be moved.
He will not let your foot be moved.
He will keep you, or he who keeps you will not slumber.
He who keeps you will not slumber.
Behold, he who keeps Israel
Behold, he who keeps Israel
will neither slumber nor sleep.
will neither slumber nor sleep.
The Lord is your keeper.
The Lord is your keeper.
The Lord is your shade on your right hand.
The Lord is your shade on your right hand.
The sun shall not strike you by day,
The sun shall not strike you by day,
nor the moon by night.
nor the moon by night.
The Lord will keep you from all evil,
The Lord will keep you from all evil.
and will keep your life.
He will keep your life.
The Lord will keep you.
The Lord will keep you.
You're going out and you're coming in
You're going out and you're coming in.
from this time forth and forevermore.